we'll just go with the flow. I'd like to introduce Dr. Karen Kramer. We actually got met up through the wonders of social media, like on one of those random things where somebody posts on Facebook, hey, who knows this or that? And we just started talking. And I'm really impressed with her mission and everything that she does. Um, we're just going to read your bio so everyone can hear it. But Dr. Karen Kramer is a guiding light that has transformed the lives of countless individuals around the globe for 3 decades. With profound understanding of the human mind and a specialty in grief recovery, Dr. Karen's true passion lies in helping individuals navigate heart-wrenching experiences such as divorce, loss of loved ones, and traumatic events. Corporate nonprofit profits have sought Dr. Karen's invaluable counsel. Her expertise also embraces entrepreneurs, beauty pageant title holders, actresses, stay-at-home moms, and retirees. As a faculty member, program manager, and executive coach at the prestigious Center for Creative Leadership, Dr. Karen's guided leaders from new managers to C-suite executives. But the big thing I really want to ask you about is this whole Villa Vision and Wellness Retreat Center. So first of all, just tell us your story. I know we've talked a little bit about your journey and we have like a similar path of working with people coming out of relationships. But how did you get all the way towards creating this retreat center? What inspired you?
Many things. Thank you, Marie. So being in the field of leadership development and coaching, I saw a lot of parallels as I was coaching everything from teenagers through executives. And I had this experience back in 2012. So I'm curious for the rest of you if you can relate to this, where my father had passed at that time. And I thought I had dealt with the grief process, right? I was doing well. I was doing all the logistics. I was handling everything. And then there was that day. And this was a month after my father passed. I had to put my beloved cat to sleep, who was 16 years old at the time. Called my mom to tell her, and she mentioned something that on a normal day would irritate me, but it just lit me like a firecracker on the 4th of July. And I went into a rage, which, by the way, was not my normal. So from yelling and screaming at my kids to cussing out my mom and my brother, I just lost it. And after I stepped back and saw the aftermath that had laid out with my family, both immediate and extended family at that point in time, I thought I needed support. So I decided, hey, let's go with traditional talk therapy. Went there, spent some time, and walked out with a label of situational anxiety. It was almost like she felt proud about checking the box, but it really didn't help me. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe it's early onset menopause, because I was in my early 40s at that time. So went to an OBGYN, and in about 2 minutes, she wanted to pump me full of hormones, which I didn't want. I barely take an ibuprofen as it is. And then my husband's like, that fancy destination spa you always wanted to go to. Well, why don't you go there? So I did, and spent a good 7 days away, which was nice. But I came back, and within 2 hours, I was bickering with my husband again. Then, not about my husband, it was about me. And in the process of that, I realized that I had been labeled by a therapist, prescribed drugs by a doctor, and had temporary relief from going to a spa, but wasn't dealing with the underlying grief. So, first of all, I'm curious, either by emoji or hand, can anybody relate to anything that I've just shared so far? Whether it's grief, I see some nods, thank you. Some grief, or even just the whole, and I'm going to say traditional talk therapy medical route to be able to, thank you, be able to respond to, Amanda, thank you, to be able to respond to grief. And at that point in time, I knew there was something more than just being able to manage the temporary uh, symptoms of grief. But at that point in time, I didn't know what it was. So fast forward here about 4 years ago, went through a process where I then went through a divorce and went through a process to help me through the grief process of going through divorce. And it also helped me through the process, prepare for the process of last year, which was a year and a half ago, the passing of both my older brother and my mother within 2 weeks apart. And it's what I do now to be able to help my clients, not only in the passing of loved ones, but also in normal life grief when things that we project as we want in life just don't turn out to be. So, for example, even like the notorious coronavirus, when we were not able to do certain things or go certain places. And so, for that, Marie, when I started the Villa Vision Wellness and Retreat Center, it was to be able to help people. I focus specifically on women because that's my path. However, I've also worked with men too, to basically help them from the inside out to happiness, health, and wholeness. And that's why I opened up the Villa Vision Wellness and Retreat Center in August of last year.
Wonderful. And so what kind of activities do you do? Because I know there's a lot of different modalities in this room. So I guess get more into the mechanics of what do you do to help people?
Yes, I will share what I do now as well as the vision for the future. So, for one, I do one-on-one work with clients. So, it's a lot of mindset work in regards to working with the unconscious or subconscious mind. So, I'm curious of those who are on, how many of you do work with the unconscious or subconscious mind? And I'm sure some of that, good. So, some of that for those of us who are here, yes, can relate. Good. So that is the work that I do. NLP, Neuro-Linguistics Programming by trade, hypnotherapy by trade. And actually how I connected up with Marie is recognizing beyond the work that I do, there's various different ways, and I'm sure with many of you here or those listening, are various different ways to be able to tap into the unconscious and subconscious minds. And coming from the corporate world, I now say there is a distinct difference between coaching to the conscious mind as well as coaching at the unconscious line to be able to quickly and easily release. So I do the one-on-one breakthrough work as well as women's retreats. And then upon full release, when the Villa Vision is at its fullest, is actually bringing in other health practitioners. Marie, you're one of those, bringing in other health practitioners to be able to support clients beyond just traditional one modality of healing.
Yeah, I love that. I'm excited to have more excuses to come back to California to visit. So
Yes, come on, come
yeah.
on. We got the sunshine and the pool.
And it is also nice to do, as much as I love doing everything online, it is nice to be in person too. It actually like helps deepen our connection and deepen the healing.
It
So
does.
yeah, amazing. And if you have any questions, just put them in the chat too.
Oh, I have a question, but
Okay.
it's easier for me to talk instead of writing. Hi, Dr. Karen. The question for me is, I'm not remembering things, whatever I learn. It's like, oh, that word, oh my God, it's a new word. It's not a new word. I just so excited that word, but what happening in my, I have no, it's like, am I losing my mind or I forget things? I can remember. Why cannot remember? I'm studying, I'm doing it. Where is it? It's like in the air or something. Can you help or anything of that nature or?
Yes. So Agnes, is there, about when did you start to notice that you were losing your mind? And I'm putting that in quotes for a purpose.
Yeah, I'm studying astrophysics too, but it's too much studying, too much things, and going on 2 years. And now, when I need to, the birth chart, I need to read. Oh, really? I not remember nothing in the first year I studied.
So here in a quick answer, and I'm going to answer this for everybody too, is thinking about when we have a shift in life. First of all, I put that in air quotes because we're always paying attention to the way in which we're talking to the subconscious and unconscious mind. And if we start to believe I am losing my mind, that can happen for us. So be aware of what we say to ourselves as well as our unconscious or subconscious mind. The other thing I like to do is look back as to when there was a shift. And there's a lot of questions that I ask even more as to what happened around that period of time. And one of the big books that I just realized I don't have with me, which is a great resource, and I think, Marie, I mentioned this to you as well, is the Healing Questions Guide by Wendy Jensen. The Healing Questions Guide by Wendy Jensen, Wendy spelled W-E-N-D-I. She is, if anybody's familiar with Louise Hayes,
Yeah.
she's one of the first one many of us in this field are. Louise Hayes created a book, and bear with me, so those of you who remember the name of the book, you're welcome to drop it in the chat. Is she ended up saying, if this is an area of your body, such as your mind, that you are challenged with, thank you, Marie, for dropping that in, then here is what may be the emotional state that is behind that physical manifestation. What Wendy does in the Healing Questions Guide is it takes it even further. It is my Bible, if you want to call it, in this field of work of looking at the mind-body connection. For example, in regards to mind, and my middle brother, I'm not saying this is you, Agnes, so I do not want to install in any way in anything I'm saying. I know for my brother has onset dementia and Alzheimer's. And part of what it has in the Healing Questions Guide is, this is all from memory at this point in time, is dealing with some anger, hopelessness and anger in regards to being in a situation in life where you are angry about something, but unable to do anything about it. And I may be badly paraphrasing that. However, when I did look at that in my brother's situation, that was something that was evident in his life. So it doesn't necessarily mean that, yes, indeed, that's what led to it. What I like to do is I like to see, is there some emotional or situational component that may be leading to that physical symptom showing up in the body? So without going any further on that, Agnes, is there anything that I've shared so far that resonates with you?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I think
So
always.
yeah. So the first is identifying, the second is the releasing. And the releasing, as many of us raised our hands on, is a lot of the unconscious or subconscious work. Thank you for the question, Agnes.
Yeah, it was amazing. Any other questions?
I have another one. Why I feel uncertainty to start the ThetaHealing.
Say that again, Agnes.
I feel uncertainty to the ThetaHealing, to start the ThetaHealing, because I did the instructor, I repeat courses. I still not feeling okay, I can do that.
So feelings of uncertainty.
Yes, uncertainty.
Is that uncertainty in practicing theta healing, or like, I guess, what are you uncertain about before we?
How I started, if the people coming, if I'm good, if I 100% I can do it, or this is all the nonsense questions, or the good questions for me.
But that actually, you and I can talk. I actually spend a lot of time with my students, getting them started specifically in theta healing and working out strategies for them.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
So yeah, I can help you with that. I have a long story with theta healing and getting going. So I had like 3 jobs at one point before I just did this.
Because I started 5 years ago and didn't go anywhere, just paying the courses.
Yeah, we'll get you there. We'll get you going.
Oh, wonderful.
Yep, we'll connect. We gotcha.
Good. Agnes and Marie is a wealth of knowledge there.
Mm-hmm.
I am actually more curious about what's underneath those limiting beliefs that may be holding you back. And again, I'm going to talk about it bigger because there's a couple things, and I wish I wrote them down. Something I can't do, So I'm looking at this as an opportunity for all of us, but anytime I'm working with clients, I look at word patternings. What are some of the things we say to ourselves? I can't, or I'm not good enough. I can't grasp, I'm losing my mind, those type of things, which give an idea about what some of the programming behind.
This is the first
how
time
we
I said I'm
think.
losing a mind. I never say that I'm smart.
Good.
This
Check
is
that for
a
you,
very
Agnes.
positive person, but where is it?
Good.
The
And I
question
reject
is,
that for you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Good.
right. So, yeah, I think we're ready just I'm going to take myself off pin and let you take the reins. So so you can do your presentation. What are you going to be talking to us about today?
Actually grief, but in the process of it, I'll tie in, Agnes, some of the questions that you asked as well.
Okay, beautiful.
So, great. So
Okay.
let
Let's
me.
switch gears real quick.